Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Goebel Septic, and Americool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Van Tile, joined by the Chronicle Sports crew. Full staff in here tonight. We've got Dylan Wilhelm, we've got Zach Martin, and we've even got our boy Kody.
We are back.
We are so back.
We're so back.
Another week is in the books, and consistent good weather is finally allowing us to catch up on games. I'll turn my email off now.
I think it's next Monday. There's like 12 doubleheaders. Everyone's just trying to cram games in.
Oh, yeah. We'll mix it up by starting with baseball today, where Adna just split a series with Toutle Lake. Guys, tell me, does this mean they are going to split the league title?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know what the tiebreakers are.
Dylan, you were there for game one. A walk-off win for the Pirates. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Did Toutle get screwed by a call at second base? Maybe.
Ooh.
But did Adna take advantage by hitting another double after that to score the winning run? Yes.
What? Tell me about this first part. I want to hear about the
2 outs, bottom 8. Ty Bodenhammer comes up, drills a grounder to second, shortstop airmails the throw. Grounder to shortstop airmails the throw. The throw had him beat by, he had tried to advance second, throw had him by 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And he might have slid around the tag. I was in a horrible position. I couldn't really see. Ump obviously rules him safe. Toutle dugout was very clearly not happy. And then I guess you could say he was safe because ball doesn't really lie. And Cameron Nakano just kind of drilled one to the gap. But it was a very, I don't want to say unceremonious end, but a little controversial. Maybe.
Interesting. That sounds like fun.
But yeah, Zach Swanson and Tristan Percival, obviously the two aces for both those staffs. Both offenses kind of got to him early. Toutle put up 2 in the first, and Swanson gave up 3 in the second. After that, it was just your classic first team to make a mistake is going to lose. First team to score is going to win, and that's exactly what ended up happening with the airmail throw leading directly to the game-winning run.
Yeah.
But yeah, just good baseball. A lot of scouts in attendance for Swanson, who was, if I overheard one scout correctly, hitting mid-80s with his changeup.
Yeah.
Are you positive those scouts weren't there for Tristan Percival?
The radar guns weren't. There were not as many radar guns up for Tristan Percival, but
They sleeping on him.
Just it felt like a postseason game. Obviously, these two teams have a history. Kody knows all too well, and it just had that atmosphere of not just a regular league game. And I'm sure yesterday's series finale was the same vibes down there in Toutle.
I was really excited because I was supposed to go shoot this game, and I was pretty hyped to go shoot it. And then a bunch of woods had to catch on fire out in Napvine, so that's where I was at while this was happening. Taking pictures.
I'm sure somebody set that fire just to keep you from going to baseball.
Exactly. Yeah, they knew.
So then game 2 was yesterday, Wednesday.
I believe so.
What day is it? Today's Friday.
Friday.
Anyway, game 2 is later. Connor Cox shut down Adna in game 2. He tossed a complete game shutout, and the two teams remain tied atop the C2BL standings with 4 games to play. We don't know what the tiebreakers are.
Nobody knows what the tiebreakers are.
Yeah,
Jake Overbay doesn't know what the tiebreakers are.
I'm not sure what they do for. I can't remember. Probably coin toss. If it's not because if they're 1-2, they both get to host.
Yeah,
the first couple rounds of districts or whatever.
Like in the 2As, some of the teams play a third non-league game, which doesn't count toward league standings, but will be used as a tiebreaker, which is a lot of fun. But the Adna and Toutle aren't going to meet again until the postseason, probably. So
interesting.
They'll probably split.
All right, Napavine continues to be on Adna and Tootle's heels. The Tigers have won 6 straight. They've outscored their opponents 81-11 during that stretch, and Ashton Demarest's ERA is hovering near 1. How does the rest of the C2BL look? Who's in 4th?
I believe
Toledo.
Okay.
My phone will load. But yeah, just a quick thing on Napavine. I don't know what really has changed in the last few weeks, but the offense, I mean, you look at they're averaging 12, 13, 14 runs a game in the last 2-3 weeks, and obviously it's leading to a lot of success when you have guys like Demarest and Cal Bullock on the mound. Kalama is actually in 4th now with Toledo and Rainier 5th and 6th.
Mm-hmm. Kalama 9-5, and then Toledo Rainier tied are both 7-7.
Okay, that's the C2BL. Kody, any other thoughts?
Not at the moment.
We round out the top 7 real quick. Wakai comes at 7.
I will not refrain from bringing them up if I have more thoughts, though.
I'm sure you will. In the 2As, Tumwater clinched at least a share of the EVCO title by sweeping WF West. Dylan was at game 1. Zach was at game 2. How did those go?
I was also at game 1.
Congratulations.
You got some sweet photos shooting under the lights at
I did
CC.
get some awesome photos.
Good sunset stuff in there.
Yeah, that was an electric atmosphere there at CC. Like there wasn't an open seat in the bleachers.
That felt like a playoff game too.
Yeah, for sure. It was really fun to be at. Obviously, the history between those two teams. Tumwater, like you said, won both games, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Tumwater, you were there for game 2, so you could tell me how it was if it was any different. But Tumwater really seemed to be the team, just with more energy. Maybe not from the jump, but it very quickly was. They were able to carry it over into the second, third, fourth inning. It just seemed like, I mean, Eddie Marson is just a walking Energizer bunny. This guy is just full of hype and just good vibes. And you kind of mentioned that, I think, in your story about game 2, where the team kind of rides off that. You could definitely tell they were in game 1, and I'm sure it was very similar in game 2.
Game 2 was very, it was, I don't know who had more energy in game 2. Eddie Marson, like you mentioned, I mean, the kid is a ball of energy. And he was a major factor in them winning that second game 2-1. But WF West had chance after chance after chance to win that game, and they could not come up with the timely hit. Connor Coleman pitched well for WF West. Derek Thompson and Luke Hoke pitched very well for Tumwater. Hoke danced out of those jams in the later innings and battled a little bit of nerves and was able to set aside those and get out of it. But two very good teams. Would not stun me at all if they meet again in the district tournament. Wouldn't stun me at all if they meet again in the state tournament, if things break that right way. But yeah, Tumwater's just a little bit better right now. And will WF West ever get on the winning end of one of these games? Time will tell. But yesterday, or second game on Wednesday, was their best chance to make it happen.
That'll most likely be the district championship matchup again, right?
And why not run it back again, state semis?
Yeah, probably.
Let's do it.
Yeah, sure. Could be. Or even the state finals.
That'd be fun.
Crazier things have happened.
That would be fun.
That would be pretty sweet.
The last time WFS won a state title was they beat Tumwater. Centralia has found its way into the top 4. The Tigers swept Black Hills this week, but their spot is not secure, as Shelton and Rochester also have 5 league losses, and Aberdeen is just 1 game back with 6. So there's really a haves and have-nots situation in the EBCO baseball standings, it looks like.
Yeah, it's just kind of muddy there from kind of 4 to 6, even 3. Centralia does seem to be playing its best baseball right now. We were sitting here, 2-3 weeks ago, talking about how after their slow starting in Shelton at Cheney, they seem to be the better team the final 4 innings. It's just when you give up 8 in the first 2, what are you going to do? And Jake LeDuc said after the game, if we could just clean up these big innings, which is obviously like, duh, but it's cliche because it's true. Over these last 4 or 5 games that they've won now, they haven't given up a big inning, and they've been the team to get off to a lead. He even kind of said, I think 3 of the 4 or 3 of the 5 were on the road. He said, I'm not saying it's easier being the road team, but there is a benefit to coming up first, getting a few runs on the board. And then if you can go out and get a 0, that's what was plaguing them earlier in the year. And now they've really flipped and kind of been the team to jump out early, and it's really benefiting them.
Centralia and Rochester will meet next week in a critical 2-game set. Who you guys got in those?
Which team shows up? I feel like I can't get a read on either one of them because Centralia's looked good, as Dylan mentioned, as of late. But Rochester has been very inconsistent. Like they played a couple games where they look good, and then there's like a 3-game stretch where they just don't look good. So who is going to rise to the occasion to try and get a top 4 spot in the standings will end up either winning both these games or garnering at least a split.
Yeah, I want to lean with the hot team in Centralia, but Rochester will also probably have Henry Grammelspacher for game 1. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce that. I apologize if it's wrong. But Centralia also have Tucker Weaver. Game 1, I would lean Grammelspacher for Rochester, but also, like I said, they've been getting out to such hot starts. If they can get him out early, I do think that their offense is capable enough to do that.
All right, this podcast is brought to you by Goebel Septic, providing septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties. Septic pumping inspection and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services, and of course, they'll rent you a porta potty and a sink to go with it. Visit goebelseptic.com. That's GOEBEL septic.com, or call 360-736-2167. Now on to softball, where Adna is officially on a roll and alone atop the C2BL standings. They beat previously undefeated Toledo 12-2 on Thursday, and Zach was there for that.
Yeah, the final is quite misleading. It was a 2-2 game through 5 innings. Toledo was right with Adna. What doomed them was top of the 6th. Marguerite Humphrey lays down a bunt, beautifully executed bunt. Toledo's first baseman fields it, throws it over to the second baseman covering first, and it goes wide. Both runners on base score, and then it just snowballed from there. 2 more scored in that inning, and then 6 scored in the 7th. Ava Sims hit a 2-run single, and then 8th grader Lena McCloskey hit a roped a 2-run triple, and that sealed it. But I've got 3 takeaways from this game.
Go ahead.
1, Adna is still cream of the crop of the C2BL. That's not surprising. Do I think that they can get back to state or get back to a state championship game? Yes. Do I think they can win it? I'm not 100% sure on that. It depends on what they get from 5 through 9 in the lineup. If you can get 2 hits like they did yesterday from McCloskey and then Gabby Gard in the 9-hole, you're going to be in good shape. But how much will Danica Hollum, Kendall Humphrey, Marguerite Humphrey, and Ava Sims have to carry the load offensively, because those top 4 have been the most productive for them? How far though they will go could limit the ceiling. What they get from 5 through 9 will really determine how far they go, because I think Ava Sims is going to be able to shut down anyone in the circle because she is an elite pitcher. Toledo, I still think, is very good. Like I said, this was they were right there in it for 5 innings, and if they are better defensively, it could be a different story, because they, up until that game, they had 13 errors according to their game changer stat sheet. They had 6 total in this game. So I lean towards this game being an aberration defensively. Mm-hmm. Peyton Holter got out of a lot of jams. What will be key for Toledo moving forward, if they can get to Yakima, will be, can they hit elite pitching? Because they didn't. The 2 runs they scored were both unearned on an infield error by Adna, and they struggled against Sims after that point. Just 4 total hits. So how they do against elite pitching will be vital to see if Toledo is state tournament good. And then the third thing I have is Adna plays Onalaska in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. I would say Onalaska and Toledo are very close to each other for the second best team in the league, right there with Napavine. I'd say those 3, you can put them in 2, 3, 4 in any order, and I don't think a lot of people would complain about the order in which those 3. How Adna plays against, or how Onalaska plays against Adna in a league doubleheader in 2 weeks on April 29th will go a long way in determining who's that next team behind them that can maybe make a run at state. Onalaska's got Lisa Liddell back, was recovering from off-season surgery. She's pitched very well in the circle since she's been back. If Adna does sweep Onalaska, what's the score? If it's big, like it was against Toledo, when does Adna break away? Because if it's late, I think that Onalaska can be right there with them. If it's early, then we know that it's Adna's league, and it will be Adna's league until someone else literally takes it from them.
Yeah. The concern about hitting elite pitching at the state level is interesting, because you're not going to see any more elite pitching at the state level than you'll see in the C2BL. Like, that's historically, they've always had the best pitching.
What's that Acosta pitcher's name again?
That's Jesse Gilbert. I was just going to get to that. The other, the district tournament is going to be the best pitching you'll see.
One more quick thing about Adna is that we kind of saw this coming. You kind of mentioned this isn't really surprising, but back when they started 1-3, we said on this pod probably 3 or 4 pods ago, look who they're losing to. It's 3A Timberline, it's 3A Bonnie Lake, it's 2A Aberdeen. Mm-hmm. Once they get back to 2B competition, they'll roll, and they have been.
Yeah, so the big challenge is going to be the district tournament when they get matched up with probably a PWV or an Ocosta and see how they do there. But I'm sure they'll be fine. And again, the C2BL or District 4 has won every state softball tournament since 2007, except for one. And last year, Adna won it, and their head coach, according to the WIA, was Tracy Kratzer. I don't think that's accurate.
Don't think it is either. Who was the one non-District 4 team to win the
Northwest Christian out of Spokane won it in 2018, and they beat Napavine.
Of course, private schools.
And beyond that, every state championship game, let's see, has been District 4 versus District 4. Well, except 12 and 13, Northwest Christian lost.
And Toledo's going to play Acosta in a non-league game in there, I believe, in a couple days. So we'll see how they respond after the wheels came off against Adna.
Yeah, that'll be a good barometer. But yeah, Gilbert's quite good. This podcast is brought to you by... wait, we got to get to the rest of them. Rainier and Napline also have 1 league loss. Kalam and Toutle Lake have 2 each. In the 2As, Tumwater and WFS continue to lead the way, while reigning league champion Aberdeen sits in 3rd. Rochester currently in the pigtail spot at 3-3, and Centralia is 1 game back at 2-4. Who's the favorite there?
We'll find out on Monday. We'll find out this Monday. Tumwater will host will head to Rec Park and play the Bearcats. So that'll be likely for the league title. Can't count out Aberdeen because they've got the 2 D1 pitchers in Camp and Hollingsworth. Centralia is kind of seemingly going through a mid-season funk, kind of like they did last year, where they just did not piece together wins, and then they somehow put it all together in the district tournament. So we'll see if it's a case of deja vu. I still think the talent of Rochester may end up being what gets them through the district tournament, but that's just my thoughts right now.
All right, Dylan?
I'd say Tumwater until someone can beat them, which could be as early as Monday, which obviously puts WF West. I'd say it's one of those two. Kind of like Zach, I really like the talent of Rochester. I just need to see it a little more consistently.
Yeah.
Which they very well could do here in the last couple of weeks of the season and going in strong into districts. Outside of that, it's kind of the same note on Centralia, where on paper you'd expect them to have a little bit better record and more consistent success than what they're having right now. But obviously that's why you play the games. Super random, but in a league with weird tiebreakers and non-league and chaos, it's very nice that the standings are 6-0, 5-1, 4-2, 3-3, 2-4, 1-5, 0-6.
Yeah, they fixed it. So everything's back to normal. All right, this podcast brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. Whether it's your living room, your bedroom, your dining room, your entertainment room, your office, or maybe the actual bed and the mattress that goes upon it, Elam's Home Furnishings and Sleep Center can hook you up. Visit their showroom at 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia, or check them out online, elamshf.com. You can also give them a call on the telephone. Although I don't have the number here in front of me. Maybe you can't.
I might have accidentally deleted that. Just surveying the room here, how many of us have an entertainment room in our house/apartment/living housing dwelling?
I'm thinking about filling the big empty room in my house with an entertainment center. So yeah, maybe. Anybody else? Nope.
Maybe if I had an entertainment center, I would have an entertainment room.
Boy, do I have news for you.
Tell me. Where can I find one, Aaron?
Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. Or maybe you can get one at the swap meet you're going to on Saturday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, next up, soccer. We have a clear picture in the EVCO standings. WFS edged Tumwater 2-1 and a thriller to clinch a share of the league title, and Zach was there.
Yeah, it was good. It was a very, very competitive game. WF West won. Got the game go-ahead goal in the 57th minute. Rafa Mendez a little dribbler off a rebound shot and had just enough spin on it that it got by got by Tumwater's goalie. And then Caden Page, the traditional second half goalie for WF West. Josh Madrigal will play the first half, and then Page will play the second half. Last 20 minutes, Tumwater had 7 or 8 shots, and about 5 to 6 of them were on frame, and Page stopped them. There were 2 that Tumwater's Dylan Stevens hit, and I was a little stunned that they didn't find the back of the net. So very good win for WF West. They can clinch the league outright tonight, as we're recording this on Friday against Centralia, second leg of the Chronicle Cup. WF West won the first leg 4-0, so they are in line to win the Chronicle Cup once again. We'll see how the District 4 tournament ends up, if any of them can get to Renton, the 2A state tournament. If WF West keeps playing defense the way they have, I like their odds, but we'll see what the matchups look like.
All right, the top 4 in the EBCO standings: WF West 8-1, Tumwater 6-3, Aberdeen 5-4, Centralia 5-4. Rochester is 4-5, and they lost a tough one to Aberdeen 2-1 last night. And Dylan was that one.
I was thinking about like a game to compare this game to, and my first thought was the 2014 round of 16 in the World Cup with the U.S. But I think a more locally relevant and still like applicable game is the first MLS Cup the Sounders won. I don't know if any of you watched that.
No.
So essentially,
I remember it like it was yesterday.
If I remember correctly, the game was scoreless going into PKs, and it was only scoreless because Stephen Fry in goal for the Sounders just kept making save after save after save, and it just felt like a matter of time that Toronto was going to finally score a goal because they were always in the box in the penalty area. They were getting chance after chance after chance. They never got their breakthrough. Aberdeen did. It felt the same way after about the first 15 minutes, where Christian Akachua, I botched that pronunciation. I'm so sorry. A freshman scored for Rochester to give them a 1-0 lead. After that, it kind of turned into that. Just kind of, it really mirrored their last 2 games. They lost 5-0 to Centralia. They controlled the first 10, 15 minutes of that game. They were up 2-0 at Kelso with 15 minutes to play on Saturday. They gave up 3 goals in the final 15 minutes. And then to Aberdeen, you're up 1-0 after 15, you're up 1-0 at half, and all of a sudden they just continue to have chance after chance after chance, and it just felt like a matter of time, and sure enough, they tie it 15 minutes into the second half, and then they get the game winner with 3 minutes to play. Matt Ashton, the Rochester coach, was obviously disappointed and frustrated, and obviously they're not dead yet in the standings, but in terms of a playoff spot, but there's only so many times that you could say these are must-win games before they actually become must-win games, and that's what these final 3 are going to be. He even said, 3 games to play, anything can happen in terms of the team above us. We just have to go out and take care of business, which we have not been doing lately. Tough one for them to swallow. Obviously not, like I said, not dead yet in terms of postseason chances, but something's going to have to flip quickly for them to get back into the top 4.
Okay. And Chronicle Cup Leg 2 tonight. Who's all going to that?
I'll be there to take photos.
I will be there to write and present the trophy.
And Ridley will possibly swing by for photos as well.
Okay. This podcast brought to you by Americool Heating and Air Conditioning. If you're too hot or too cold, give them a call. They got a 24/7 emergency service line, 360-948-2832. Your comfort is their business. They offer full service HVAC installation, services, and repair with a 100% satisfaction guarantee on everything they do. Visit west.americoolonline.com to learn more.
Saw the booth for Americool at the Home and Garden Show last weekend.
Oh, yeah? How was it?
Lovely setup.
Yeah.
Great display. Just made me feel warmer and cooler at the same time as I walked by,
Depending on what you wanted, yeah.
Yeah.
You felt warm. It warmed your heart, but you felt cooler being associated with it.
We got a shiver by how awesome it was. I don't know.
Shivered how it warmed me.
Does their booth just have like a heater going on one side and an air conditioner going on the other, and you stand in the middle and you're like, oh yeah.
It's pretty much exactly what their booth was. It's like a heater set up on one side and an air conditioner on the other.
Lovely.
TV.
All right, it's time for Track with Zach. Zach, what's going on with Track?
Chehalis Activators starts today with like the invitational of like everyone for all the teams that are there, 24 of them. Put as many athletes in the events as possible, in every event possible. Saturday is the actual meat of it. Top 18 seeded performances in every event, boys and girls, will be on Saturday. So it's the best of the best. Locals there: Black Hills, Centralia, Napa Vine, Onalaska, PL, Rainier, Rochester, Tumwater, Winlock, and of course WF West. Would peg of the locals, Rainier girls, to be a favorite. With Tumwater girls, I'll be very interested to see. Obviously, 2A, 2B, it's apples and oranges, but just a good barometer and see where, if Rainier brings their full stacked lineup, how it compares with Tumwater, because I think those two teams are vying for state team hardware. Boys side, Tumwater has been on a roll in winning a lot of league meets, so we'll see if they can keep it up. We've got a handful of athletes that are in the top or ranked as the number one in their respective events. WF West has Caleb Bussey, I think is I'm pronouncing that correctly. Busey, one of the two. Sorry, Caleb. He's the state 2A leader in discus with a throw of 172 feet 6 inches, which broke a 60-year-old school record that the Bearcats held. He broke it last week at the Pasco Invite. And then Lucas Hoff has the best high jump. He's cleared 6'6", so I'll be interested to see if he jumps well on Saturday, if he'll try and go over that. And then on the girls' side in 2A, WF West Amanda Bennett is the top thrower in the javelin. Just recently, actually got that at a league meet this on Thursday. Threw it 118 feet 11 inches, basically 2 feet above Natalie DeMarco from Enumclaw. I think I'm Enumclaw, yeah. Okay. So she's the leader in that. And then Tumwater girls, their 4x4 relay of Cassidy Heaton, Ava Jones, Reese Harryford, and Annabelle Clapp, top in the state, 40259, and their 4x2 relay, that same quartet, also number one. Their 4x1 relay is second. So, and Hayden, Hereford, and Jones are in that, and then Ashley Afana. So the relays for Tumwater, both boys and girls, are very loaded, very stacked. And there's a lot of girls in the 2B that are highly ranked. So yeah, this is going to be a very loaded meet, and I'm looking forward to see who really breaks through in terms of standout performances. It should be a good one.
Are you going to the Activators Saturday?
Mm-hmm. Me and Ridley will be going. I'll be writing. Ridley will be on photo duty.
All right, sounds good. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any other sports happening?
Kody, what are you going to on Saturday?
Saturday, I will be shooting youth lacrosse.
And the swap meet?
And swap meet for about an hour at 8 a.m.
Hell yeah.
I'll get there early. So I was told if you get there early, you pay an executive price and you get premium access an hour before everyone else.
Who told you it was an executive price? It's $2?
It's $5. It was you and Schwartz.
Schwartz told you that.
You might not remember because it was on the news dump, but
I blacked it all out. It's a contentious news dump.
Yeah. And then, from there, we're going to lacrosse, and then I'm going to swing up to Tenino to catch their game first. Who does Tenino play again? Montesano.
Which will be...
That's a good league matchup.
Yeah, that's...
Could determine the FCO.
Yeah.
Doubleheader, if I remember correctly, too.
12-2. Yep.
I will be there for one game.
hopefully the teams are there for both. So
Maybe I'll stay for both. Who knows? Maybe I'll just have the most fun of my life taking Toledo baseball photos.
Also, WF West girls tennis, I believe, is undefeated. I think they're a perfect 8-0.
I want to get out to a tennis match. I want to try tennis photos. Yeah. Seems like fun.
Anything else you guys got?
Rest in peace, the Arizona Coyotes. Bring back the Sonics. Bring back the Coyotes.
Oh, come on. Before this, you were talking rest in peace, OJ. Your hero.
That was Zach. That was not me.
I plead the fifth.
All right.
We're just like OJ.
If the glove doesn't fit,
you must acquit.
None of you guys were alive for that. All right. We'll see you next week.